Good morning, friends. This is Lee Kersey, the Simple Georgian. Another Sunday ramble, and today I'm smoking my Cobbett Shire corn cob. I've got some C and D Dark Fire Kentucky in it today. First time I've tried straight Dark Fire Kentucky, and it's actually pretty good. Um, I've been talking a lot with my niece and playing with my little nephew out here on the porch, little 17-month-old nephew. So I'm having to relight it more than normal. But anyway, I want to do a little Sunday ramble. Hold on a minute. Okay, here we go. I've been kind of slack this week as far as physical labor work. I've been doing a lot more admin work this week, a lot of studying. Uh, Picked up two more roles at work. Not only am I director and over safety and training, manager over hazmat, DOT, federal motor carrier safety administration stuff at work. I've also picked up dispatch and helping the new office manager, get our paperwork in order. So, yeah. And next week, I've got to start studying for my fumigation certification or license, as well as we've got a DOT investigation inspection going on. We just come through a Department of Agriculture audit. So yeah, we've had a lot going on at work, paperwork wise, admin wise, and because of I guess you can say my dependability and limited amount of knowledge with office management type stuff, picked up two more new roles. So hopefully hopefully I can get a little extra monies on the paycheck when the original office manager comes in, because she just had a baby. She's been overseas, so she's supposed to be back in the next week or so. And yeah, I'm picking up some new roles, which is more headache, more responsibility, but it is what it is. Is helping to get me out of the field for the most part. So I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we're gonna try it and see. Also, I'm over safety with the company as well. So yeah, got to love it. I guess that's what happens when you're dependable and have some knowledge. But anyway, I've kind of been lacking this week on watching some of the videos from everybody. Like I said, I've had a lot on my plate, a lot of training, and then doing some cleanup inside the house, some organization, and trying to get set up to where I can start processing my whole leaf. I thought that I had some whole leaf going bad because I got it back in December, and thought it was starting to go bad, but come to find out it's not going bad. So I got to get that processed and in the jars. I won't be able to shred it right now because I do not have a shredder, but I can get it broke down and get it put in jars. So I'll be working on that this week and go from there. Come to find out, the places I was looking at was just sunspots on the tobacco. It wasn't anything major, so that's good news. I didn't have a bunch of whole leaf, but what little bit I had, I didn't want to lose it, and have to replace it. But if I did, I did. So there you go. I've had a couple of comments in the past about the bus that y'all seen in a couple of posts that I've made with the rainbow. I traded a storage container for that bus while I was on the road. My original plan was not to buy a piece of property, and that was my original plan. Because of me being on the road for 30 plus years, lived in a 70-inch bunk, and with dad and mom moving like they have, we've always stayed in the Savannah area or in this region, but we moved a lot, and because of me being on the road in a big truck, my plan is to convert that bus to a motorhome. Got a lot to do with it. It's a 1990 Chevrolet with a big block gas motor, 366 big block. Not the most fuel efficient, but probably easier to work on than the diesel, unless I go to the old school diesels like the big cam or small cam Cummins or the old Detroits, mechanical motors. That would be a more reliable diesel, easier to work on. But it being a 366 big block, I can get parts out of the parts store anywhere in the United States. So yeah, it's not the most fuel efficient, but for ease of operation, I chose the gas motor. The only thing that it has that I don't like, and I'm coming around to it, is the electronic fuel injection, the two little fuel injectors on top of the carburetor. So it's when Chevrolet first come out with the fuel injection motors. So yeah, I've just got to learn how that operates. That's all. Because I grew up with the old carburetor style motors, and technically I'm using it for storage at the moment. I've got a bunch of stuff in it that I had in the container, but yeah, being I'm home regular now, that's one of my projects. As well as getting my big truck on the road, which I've seen in the past. I may post a video, a little short video of showing it running to show that it does run. I've taken the letters off of it from the company I got it from, and all of that. So I've just got so many projects around here. It's just going to take me time. I've only been home a month and a half, from being off the road for 30 years. So I've got 30 years of stuff built up that I've got to get done, and it's just taking me time. Now that I'm older, my energy is not there like it was. So there's that. But yeah, that's the purpose of the school bus that y'all seen in my post, is to convert it to a motorhome. And because of the reason I did come home is, like I've said in a couple of videos, my father's almost 80, mom's almost 74 and disabled, and it's going to be left up to me if anything happens to him. So I guess I'm trying to be the good son and take care of that. That way they don't have to move. Mom's mind is a little more settled now, because she was scared about moving with her being disabled, and they've always done things the way they wanted, and it's a big change for them. But yeah, I've taken over the house payments and finished paying the house off is what my plan is. So that's why I'm not getting anything done with the bus at the moment, and it's putting a lot more, I guess, responsibility and stress on me as far as financial wise, but we'll get there. Like I said, I've lived in a truck for 30 years, a 70-inch bunk, so anything that I needed, I would either buy on the road, or if I needed, when I was with Electrical Union, if I was out of town, I just rented a place or whatever. But yeah, there's that. And I'm gonna make a little comment about this thing with Texas. Pray for Texas, y'all. Um, I haven't really followed everything on there, just what little bit I've seen um, in some of the groups I'm in. But I'm starting to see people make politics out of this thing with Texas. But fortunately, with me being in the fire department, EMS, and all like I am, I have managed to get some footage from some of the groups that I'm in of the time lapse of that flood, and watching that footage there. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever you call yourself political wise. There was no one in on this, or with my experience as a firefighter, EMT, first responder, and what knowledge I have of the military, there is no one that could have been prepared for that. And that, from what I'm understanding, the dam broke upriver, and they'd had a lot of rain out there, and the dam broke, and in less than 10-15 minutes that place was flooded. You cannot get enough warning in 10 or 15 minutes to keep from being in a flood. So, people makes political comments about stuff like this, and this is because of stuff like that. This is the reason I've become independent, because I've seen it from both sides, and everybody's like, well, Greg Abbott should have done this, Ted Cruz, all the, Trump this, Trump that. It ain't none of their faults. Now, where I do have a problem is all this money that these people have spent, both sides, trying to get people out of office with all of these lawsuits and all of these court cases. Could have been spent on some of the infrastructure. I run the road for 30 years. I can tell you what the infrastructure is like. There is probably maybe 5% of these roads that we're driving on that may be up to par. 5% of all the roads in the United States. I've been on these roads for 30 years. And I can tell you the infrastructure is not what they want you to think it is, for either side. I'm seeing stuff now on these highways that should have been taken care of 15, 20 years ago when I was on the road, that was not taken care of because they were spending money somewhere else. And it's, like I said, it's both sides of the aisle. I'm not taking sides on this. Now, having said that, I don't know the exact parameters of why the dam broke. And fortunately for me and my family, we have always done a lot of research and tried to not move into a place that flooded bad. But when you set up a campsite downriver from a dam, in my opinion, you're asking for trouble. Because a dam is a man-made item, and black wasp. A dam is a man-made item, and them things can fail. It's, you got water beating against that concrete all the time. They can put stuff in. Even the Hoover Dam. I've been across the Hoover Dam in a big truck, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And after, I think it was the Oklahoma, no, not Oklahoma, There was a bombing somewhere that happened, and within a year of that bombing, they stopped the big trucks from going across the Hoover Dam. And you cannot go across the Hoover Dam at all now in a big truck. You have to go around it, because the dam structurally is not capable of handling the weight anymore. It's subject to fail. So, you've got that to consider as well. And people's not understanding that about these places. And I'm not saying that the people that put the campsite up was wrong. In my opinion, I wouldn't have put a campsite up, you know, downriver from a dam, because um, my knowledge of stuff like that, studying history and listening to the old hands, from back in the mountain men days or whatever, there's some things you just don't do. But that's my opinion. And they wanted, they wanted the place there. The kids was out there for that camp, and that's them and their business. I mean, you can't just stop living because somebody done something like that. But all I can say is just pray for Texas. Don't please don't be making political comments about it, because that right there will. I won't turn against you for making political comments, but I will say that I don't approve of it. If you want to make political comments about stuff like that, neither side in the political spectrum can make that decision when you got 10, 15 minutes of something happening. I mean, that's nature. And once the dam breaks, you've got all that water, coming down. So all I can say is please pray for them people in Texas. And I've also seen that there's a couple of other places that's had some major issues. I mean, even in North Carolina, right there, going across the gorge, they're still having issues there from floodwaters and stuff going through the mountain from Hurricane Helen, or Helene, ever how you want to say it. I think Idaho's just had a big issue going on up there. There's a couple of more places. I can't remember the names. I didn't write the names of those places. And just pray for these people, because we could all be in that situation. And it's not anything political that has to do with that. One party couldn't have done any different than the other. So, yeah, that's all I'm asking. Just don't make any political statements about it, because it's not a political deal. That's nature. And a lot of people lost their lives. And the way I look at things is, I'm not saying that it's right that they lost their lives, but the way I look at things is, God in heaven knew when those people were born that was the way they was going to go. That's the way I feel about all the people that died from COVID. Yeah, it's a big loss, but God knew from the beginning of time how those people will die. He knows how we will die. I'm not, now, I do have a viewpoint that a lot of it can be rushed, or, as if I can say, tempting God. But yeah, that's the way I grew up, and it is possible, because I've seen people do stuff and make statements acting like God's not real or God's not in control or whatever, and something happens and they're like, God can't do nothing about this. So there's that. And but yeah, it's not a political thing at all, and a lot of you may not agree with that, and that's fine. But that's That's the way I understand things, and that's the way I believe it. Because if God didn't want them to pass away, and it's not that God wants them to pass away, and please don't take that wrong, because there'll be some people get on here and comment, well, you shouldn't say that, because God don't want, people to pass away. I'm not saying God actually wants them to pass away, but God knows that's how they're going to pass. And there'll be a lot of people that, might not agree with that. But when I study my Bible, that's the way I understand it. So there you go. I'm not making it a viewpoint. I'm not trying to push my religious beliefs on you. I'm just letting you know that's the way I understand the Bible. And there's that. I've had a few people comment about, not on here, but in general life, about, the way I was raised and me smoking pipes and a little bit of drink. And, they don't think that's right. But that's between me and God, And if God chooses to take my life and hold, He's going to hold me accountable for that, not anybody else. So, but me personally, I feel like that I'm all right with a little bit of pipe or cigar, or every now and then maybe a little drink. As long as you don't get carried away with it, because I know a lot of people in my childhood growing up that has made the statement, oh, you can't wear this, you can't wear that, you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't do this, but they will go out to a restaurant and they will eat half of the buffet before they sit down in one sit. That's gluttony. You got to do everything in moderation. And yes, I know there's people that has some health problems, but you can't sit there and eat nothing but fried chicken and drink Cokes all your life and expect to have a healthy life. It's not going to be healthy. I know my body, from the way I've abused it, from eating and drinking sodas and tea and stuff on the road, I'm feeling the effects from it now. It's not healthy. So, you got that to deal with. And there is nobody in their right mind can tell me that it's healthy to sit down and eat everything fried, drink sodas and tea all your life. And these people with diet sodas, in my opinion, the diet sodas is worse than the one with the sugar. But that's my opinion. I've got a little bit of medical knowledge, and I've seen, I've studied it, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying the doctors are wrong, but I do know that synthetic, artificial made products are worse on us than natural products. That's what's wrong with cigarettes. You've got cigarettes with the chemicals. You've got the vapes. All vapes is just nothing but chemical. And it's not like the pipe tobacco and the premium cigars. That's natural tobacco, Now, I'm not condoning another product. People calls it the devil's lettuce. I'm not condoning it, but it is a natural product. I will not condone it. I will never condone it. I will never say it's right, because it affects your mental state, and in my opinion, that's where it's wrong. And just like with the drinking, if you drink too much, it affects your mental state. That's where it's wrong. So that's my little take on that. Like I said, a lot of you may not like it, but it's fine. I still sleep at night, because that's the way I live. That's the way I believe it. And but anyway, that's my little ramble for the day. Let me think here for a minute. I'm trying to remember. I got off on a tangent, and I can't remember the people I wanted to give a shout out to. I'll have to do a shout out later. I'm going to try to get caught up on some of the videos today, and My pipes went out. I got maybe, I don't know, I got maybe about a quarter of the bowl left. I'm going to finish it when I get off here. But yeah, that's my little Sunday ramble. You know, I don't want anybody to think I'm preaching to y'all, but that's the my opinions and my ramble for today. And we hope y'all have a good week. Hope y'all had a great 4th of July weekend. I did work on Friday, the 4th of July, for up until about lunch. Because, like I said, we've had a lot of paperwork to do at the office and trying to get ready for this DOT inspection, as well as get caught up on paperwork that has gotten behind from the last crew that was there. And managed to pick up 2 more job descriptions, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's my Sunday ramble for today, and hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and maybe that answered y'all's question about the old school bus I have in the backyard, and hopefully I can get some video of everything going with it running. I mean, I may throw a short up on that to show that it does run, and because I actually drove that bus to the house. I couldn't get but over 25-30 mile an hour, but it wasn't that far up the road. So, and the reason I couldn't get it that far up is because it had old gas in it, and when I go up in the 3rd, 4th gear, it would lug it down to the point it would shut off. But as long as I stayed in 2nd gear, you know, and like I said, it wasn't that far up the road, so I was able to get it home at the 20-30 mile an hour I was driving. But I did drive it home, and I'm gonna go through everything on it, get it running right. I'm not 100% sure I just set a new motor in it. That's one of the options I'm looking at, because I can get a brand new crate motor. That's what my mechanic is recommending. Just get a brand new crate motor, sit down in it, be done with it. But I may take that motor out and go through it and freshen it up and just ride that motor. Because it's, you know, that's what I like about the old Chevrolet gas motors. If they're not wore, you know, they're real easy to work on, you know, without having to do a bunch of machine work. So there you go. And then, like I said, my big truck, I do have footage of that one running. The only reason I did not drive that one home is the tires on it didn't look to be the best for driving, and it was about a 30-mile trip to the house, and we couldn't get the brakes unlocked. So I put it on a wrecker and drug it to the house, and once I got it to the house, I fiddled with it a little bit, charged it up, got it to crank, and it started building up air, so I can move it back and forth, you know, drive it around. I just hadn't done it because I don't feel safe with the tires right now. So I got to, you know, get that DOT stuff done on it. But anyway, that's my little Sunday ramble. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And we hope y'all have a great week. Bye now.